Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a capsule selection. Today, I think I got a vibe for you guys, a very good vibe. I want to talk about what it is, the essence of a man. There's something that I always love to talk about, which is the undeniable, powerful essence of a man when it comes to one who knows what he likes in life, what he loves in life, what he will do and become durable in life. And to me, bringing forth lists in YouTube about fragrances is one of the things that I think of as accessories. I think all gentlemen, men, young and old, can actually gravitate towards, because it is a tool in their actual utility box to help them get somewhere in life. I think that when you use your five senses, your sight, your sound, your taste, your scent profile is one of the things that really elevate you. And so for a man who knows his sense, it's the silent signature that speaks before he does. As much as it sounds poetic, it is the invisible aura that commands attention without you speaking words. So in this capsule, I want to have a selection from this capsule that we're breaking down fragrances at its core by note. That's one thing that I love about fragrances, because I can essentially give you a spring list without having you have known what my best is or my most worn or my most complimented, but I can give you a list of fragrances that really are cultivated around notes that come off in spring and give you something of the most beautiful wardrobe built from scratch. These fragrances have fragrances that are like on the market that you can kind of get an essence of. So what I'm going to present to you in each of these 10 selected fragrances is one that has an essence of a defining raw material. They're going to be crafted fragrances that elevate confidence, presence, and personal style undeniably. So whether it's you commanding something with the depth of an Aoud fragrance in spring, or the crisp energy of a live Bergamot fragrance in spring, or the sensual pull of Musk that is a scent designed for men who live with intent, this is a list for you. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Dry Down, the lifestyle channel where we as enthusiasts aspire to enhance and elevate our olfactive sensory experiences through the understanding of the different aromas, facets, and nuances of scents, cigars, and wines. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome to today's experience. Now, gentlemen, let's talk about the notes that define the masculine elegance of spring 2025. First, like I stated, this is going to be a note selection. So an Aoud fragrance that I think is perfect for spring is the scent from the house of Roja Parfums, and this is Roja Parfums Aoud Crystal. Aoud is a bold fragrance, but Aoud can understandably come off as a wealthy smelling fragrance. So Aoud is the man, and it wears as the man who walks in the room and owns it. But it's not all about the Aoud fragrance and how they're built the same. You know what I'm saying? This one here is built very different. It strips away the heavy animatic tendencies of a traditional Aoud fragrance and refines it into something unexpectedly fresh, yet unapologetically opulent. That's the beautiful part about this particular scent. I think all men will become wonderfully enthralled with, and the community and culture has validated this one as one of the best. But that's not just about what we know. It's about when you put this fragrance on and you come around a different environment, say the business environment or the after work affair, or somewhere just in between, or even just a nice evening out with a loved one. This fragrance will captivate all. The signature of this one is smooth. It has a little bit of a smoky tinge, a lot of depth that remains, but it's wrapped in a veil of spices, citruses, and sheer elegance. It has this beautiful lemon verbena that really captivates the spring air. And this isn't just Aoud for the boardroom. You know what I'm saying? This is, although it can be a boardroom scent, this is one that has some playful, flirtatious accords that come off very well in spring. It's a very romantic fragrance. And this one here is just, it's above the fray when you want to wear a spring Aoud fragrance. And I think this one here is ultimately one of the very best Ouds out there. I know some may want to say other things, and that's their options, But this here is a beautiful list that I'm putting together for you for Aoud for spring. And this one here, it deserves the much coveted spot for Aoud in 2025 spring list. This is Roja's Aoud Crystal. Very beautiful, fresh take on Aoud. A little bit of a fig, a little bit of a ylang ylang. The notes that really compile when you're putting together how a scent feels for spring. This is one that really is spectacular. One of my most enjoyed fragrances in my collection. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit you with a beautiful, beautiful splash of citrus, and that is the scent Bergamot. The note, I should say, Bergamot, and this is the scent Nio, a classic, beautiful bergamot fragrance. This is the lifeblood in classic men's perfumery. Bergamot has been the tale of time across all genres of fragrances, especially the masculine scents. This one here, as you may see, it's not the egg-shaped bottle. This is a vintage bottle of Nio from 2014, 2015, maybe even 2013. But this one here, such a rich Neroli fragrance. It's clean, it's sharp, and it's invigorating. It's a natural choice for spring, and that's the one thing about this one. It's one that, when it comes to bergamot, it gives an Italian tailor's touch. As you know, I love to talk about how tailoring and clothing can fit your and elevate your aura just as your fragrance does. It's sight, it's sound, it's smell. This one here, refined, perfectly structured, and effortlessly luxurious. Very clean and sharp, like I said. The green nuances from Neroli are beautiful. You have a little bit of petitgrain in this one as well, or orange blossom. It's a fragrance for the gentleman who appreciates a very sharp lapel, a chilled Negroni drink, and the perfect sunset that when he's driving up the coast or something like that, he's going to just let his top down. He's feeling himself. He's vibrant. He's high energy. He's feeling the signature scent that he's wearing, which is bergamot, and he's always on the move. And this is one for that energetic man. So if you are into the lively part of life, you're on the move, you're not someone who's sitting behind a desk all day, you're out and about, you're entertaining, this particular scent smells phenomenal with that bergamot and white floral touch. Very much so when they talk about white florals, it's talking about the actual leaf. So the orange blossom, it's talking about a little bit of a wood component to the base of it, but ultimately it's about the bergamot in this one. So if you're interested in the bergamot fragrance, I suggest you get your nose on Nio. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Ormonde's fragrance Zizan. I'm going to have a mix of old and new in this particular list. This is going to be a list that I think men of men that have the ability to go out and purchase these things won't have a very big deal with finding something that has a reserved amount of bottles left, because this one here is a discontinued fragrance. I know many of you men who watch this channel are men who have the capacity to go out and find and search and get these particular scents, and if you have an opportunity, Zizan has a resemblance. I'm sure if you go into databases you can find something that has a resemblance to it, but for me, Zizan is a scent that embodies Vetiver with effortless confidence. This one here is a crisp, woody, and beautifully done, undeniable masculine Vetiver fragrance. It has some of the syrup components that you can think of like Terre d'Hermès or Roja's like Solar Blue or Oligarch. It's in that vein. And so if you have one of those fragrances, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This one here, it has a classic feel that also touches off in the modernity that takes the classic note of Vetiver and then just balances it with a beautiful sharpness and some citruses. And it also completes that with a smooth woody dry down. So this one here, this is a fragrance for the man who's transitioned seamlessly from business meetings to like a whiskey lounge afterwards. It's very robust, very powerful, but never overpowering. And that's just like the man who wears it. He wants to be noticed, he is noticed, and he is powerful in the room, but he doesn't need to tell everybody who he is. He knows that when people look around, they're going to speak and whisper his name. That is Zizan, a very beautiful Vetiver fragrance for spring 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have here next is one of the most beautiful fragrances when it comes to my collection. That's a new installment to my wardrobe. This is Jacques, and this is Monsieur Bouquet. And the reason I have this one on here is because the way that I want to perceive leather in the springtime. Now, there are quite a few fragrances that are in my collection that go off seamless when it comes to the leather note. And that's one that I'm coming to appreciate more and more, the way that these companies put together leather. Because I was used to smelling things like Safari in my youth that was a rugged leather. And now with so many of the things that I'm experiencing, knowing what leather is and what leather can do for me, especially in springtime tendencies and temperament, this is one that I truly enjoy wearing, and that's the reason I actually bought it, because of the leather componentry going with that Fougere essence. This one here is a leather for the man who lives well. You know what I mean? This is that type of fragrance. This is Monsieur Bouquet, and it is a masterclass in refined masculinity because of that Fougere essence to it. It blends a richness of aged leather with a warm woodiness and a whisper of floral elegance, and that's beautiful about this one. This isn't raw, rough leather. This is a scent that is soft, it's suede, it's lined of a bespoke suit, the leather-bound book of the man who knows how to get inside of a luxury limousine. That's the scent you get. It's sophisticated, it's intoxicating, and it's built for a man who appreciates details. As I said in my first review of this one, a very beautiful attar. Someone asked me in one of my notes or comments, how does this wear? Looking at this particular bottle, you would say, okay, that's a Petit bottle, but it's a pure perfume oil, And what I find in my Attar collections, they wear greater than a 100 ml bottle would. So if you're a person who's trying to equate what it is that these particular scents do in longevity in your collection, I would say think of this as something of about 115 to 125 ml usage. So if you're one who goes through a 125 ml bottle over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, think of that as how this one will carry. Because if you look at this particular scent, any company that offers these, they fill them all the way to the top. You don't need more than 2 or 3 swipes or drips on your skin, and it has a scent profile that is extended 2 to 3 feet, and it lasts all day. And so with that, you will find that these attars last a hell of a lot longer than a lot of fragrances that you've purchased that are spray compounds. And so that's what I want to add to that as well. So this leather fragrance from Andre Jacques, Monsieur Bouquet, is one that fits firmly and successfully in the spring of 2025. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a beautiful Neroli fragrance. Now, I talked about Bergamot. Neroli is one right on its heels when it comes to a fresh scent, a luminous scent that exudes kindness and natural confidence that doesn't have to be a scent that tries hard. Petit Matin is like the first light of morning, and that's just the way it goes. It's just a bright, uplifting, and cool fragrance. Very cool, very, it's a vibe if you want to wear something like a jogging suit, something with a white t-shirt. It just fits the bill, especially in warm spring days. It fits the bill perfectly. It's a very vibrant fragrance that very much so fits in to a man who has a youthful feel, a vibrancy about him. A man who knows how to slow down, but just knows that savoring life can sometimes mean being on the go. And so whether you're dressed in linen, rocking a smart casual outfit, or just keeping with the relaxed feel of a jogging suit like I stated, this is the ultimate warm weather essential spring fragrance when it comes to Neroli. For me, this is a beautiful fragrance from Maison Kurkdjian. I think you all should get your nose on this one because I know it complements well with the Grand Soir fragrance, but it's something about this particular Neroli scent that just comes off so well. So that is Petit Matin, the Neroli note that I'm just encouraging you guys to get your nose on, and I'm going to be wearing in spring of 2025 and can't wait to get more and more uses out of this bottle. And surprise, surprise, when it comes to patchouli, you would have never thought that I would have chosen a fragrance like this, but I'm going to choose a patchouli fragrance that is misunderstood, and that is Creed's Aventus. In the right hands, it becomes the definition of charisma, and that's what the creative fragrances do. But this one, Aventus, it takes patchouli and transforms it into a modern magnetism style of fragrance. This one here has been my baby for years. It's a rich, smoky pineapple scent that has some birch tar, some undertones in this fragrance that truly captivate. It's known the world around. It's one that has been on the tip of people's tongues for the last 15 years. And I think that this here is a great patchouli fragrance for spring wear. If you take and dive into these notes and understand what patchouli does, and know that this one has an abundance of it and it really is well done, well formulated, you will know that this is for the man who is both a warrior and the king. This one is an undeniable force, and it has a lot of presence, and the undeniable presence that is, it's a beautiful fragrance that has patchouli in it for the springtime. That is Creed Aventus. Next up, what we're going to talk about is the Orris note. For me, Orris is elegance personified. It's a powdery, sophisticated, and slightly, almost deeply intriguing note profile, especially on men's skin. Byredo 1996, which I'm going to put in that particular category, gives Orris an edge by mixing it with deep amber and mysteriously beautiful patchouli as well. This one here, the way the Orris comes off is spectacular, especially for masculine skin. I know that there's a sway to this as well, so it has all of these components that come off well, but you would be surprised with how much these deep, heavy notes sound, but it comes off fresh, it comes off, wearable for spring air, and quite frankly, it comes off sensual and sexy. If you've ever wanted to know what Orris smells like, I would say this, not particularly what Orris smells like, but if you want to know what this smells like, if you want to know how this one comes off, I would say think of things like Dior Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, Harmonious from Boadicea, but put it in a category where the Orris is the star player, not just the background player or a leveling blend player. This one is very much so Orris in a bottle, but it's not feminine, and that's the beautiful thing about this one for a unisex wearing fragrance. This is one for a man who wants to stand out, has this very much so head and shoulders above the rest. You know, this is one, he doesn't seek attention, but it does come and gravitate to him. You know, this is one, I would say this is a true connoisseur's choice fragrance. This is one that's not for everyone. Because of the Orris, you have to be one who is seeking Orris and wants to know what that powdery Orris feels like. But like I stated, this one is not feminine at all. Because of the patchouli, because of the suede, because of the components that bring up an elevation to make it firmly in the unisex category. This fragrance for me, it moves like a true underground fragrance, like a jazz lounge type of fragrance. It's smooth, unexpected, and very unforgettable. And those are the words that I would choose to use when I'm talking about 1996. It's a very, very well done fragrance. It has this beautiful, that's the component I want to touch on too. The way that the Orris is done with this root vegetable scent and its carrot seed. The root vegetable scent is what makes it, has this almost woody vetiver tonality to it that comes off, I mean, quite frankly, spectacular. And this is one, if you talk about digging in the crates, this scent for me, man, it was one of the first profiles picked up once I first started watching YouTube's videos. So this has been around for quite some time in its form. And it's one that I had forgotten I had. And which frankly is terrible, but I'm glad I pulled it out and found it the other day. And I cannot wait to wear this particular fragrance more and more, because when I sprayed it, I just knew that this had to be on this list for the Orris fragrance. And I can't wait to wear it. It's going to be my scent of the day, actually. Leave that right there. Next up, let's talk about the scent of Byredo from the house of Roja Parfums. We want to talk about this one because of Ambergris. Ambergris is a note that is very enigmatic. It's a note in perfumery that is the essence of the sea. And Byredo picks that up perfectly. I think that this one is coveted for its ability to enhance a deep sensuality and a scent of allure. And that's what I want in my animalic slash beautiful ambergris fragrance. It's very sprightly, very uplifting. It's rich, it's magic. It's a very luxurious composition that feels both regal and magnetic. You know, it has that allure, that gravitas of a man. And then it's something that you would almost have a scent profile that you want to have as an heirloom scent. I speak of this one of kind of being in that timeless, distinguished gentleman style. The ambergris in this one very much so is beautiful. It's understated, but it's worth the price of the fragrance in this one. Byredo is one of my favorite from the Roja Gulf collection, and it's on this list for just simply that. The ambergris in this one is phenomenal. It's beautifully the way it's done. I think that you all should get your nose on this to understand what the ambergris in this one is. It has that salinic, seaside, oceanic feel to it, but all of the components that come from a Roja Parfum that really make it elevated and luxurious smelling is packed into this particular scent. This is the scent Byredo from the house of Roja Parfums, representing beautifully the scent of ambergris. Next, let's talk about what it is to have a musk fragrance. For me, in this 10-part list, a musk note is a must-have. And one of the best musk notes when it comes to spring for me is the scent of Cashmere by the house of Arabian Aoud. Now, this is one of those Middle Eastern houses, but it's not a clone house. I know for certain because they do have a few storefronts around the world, and they ship, you know, how a normal, quote unquote, normal fragrance brand will. So this is one who's an Arabian house that has some very beautiful fragrances on the market. I, for one, love Cashmere, and Kalimat Black is one of my favorite winter and fall oud fragrances with vanilla and spices. But Cashmere, when we talk about musk is a skin sensuality style fragrance, and this one here is a silent power for me in the spring and summertime. So this one here takes musk to a level of unmatched luxury. It's a very warm smelling fragrance, very slightly animalic, yet incredibly smooth the way it comes across. This is a scent that has intimacy written all over it, but has a quiet confidence of a man who lets his presence linger around the room with just a few sprays of a fragrance. So whether it's, you know, you want to wear this one on a night out or a fragrance that assures that you are unforgettable, this is a great one to have in your collection. It's very, very mass appealing, but it has niche written all over it as a scent profile. Love the way this one smells, and the way the musk comes off is very, very well done. I love it, man. I think that you guys, there's a scent from Stefan Umber Luca's brand, which is Homme 2022. It smells very, very similar to this one. They have their nuanced differences, but they're about 90% similar. This one is a better performer. The nuances of the Steffen Umber Lucas come off a little bit more of a evolution, I should say. The way that spreads the scent profile. This one hits you with a very, very big burst of sillage and projection and stays there. It does have evolution to the fragrance, but the nuances are not as developed as the Steffen Umber Lucas, if anyone wants to know how that is. But this is a very well composed fragrance, and I love wearing it in the springtime. And it's a 1 to 2, maybe 3 spray scent. Very powerful, has some rose in it, has some very beautiful sweetness to it, and it's a fun one to wear. That is the Musk fragrance, Cashmere, by the house of Arabian Oud. I like this one. I think you guys should, I actually love this one. Get your nose on this one, guys. Now, when it comes to the violet note, violet in spring is a beautiful, beautiful note. And I think that every man should have a violet fragrance in his collection. I think that is one of the notes that does not get spoken about enough in frag community, fragrance blogs. When it comes to the masculine skin, I often try to put it out as much as I can to let you guys know that violet and violet leaf are wonderful notes for a man to wear. And for me, this is the scent of intrigue. I know that when you smell the scent of woody, smoky, yet unexpectedly fresh violet on the skin, it gives a touch of uniqueness to you. It's airy, it's lifting, and it's a beautiful fragrance. It's for the man who walks in his own path. It exudes a beautiful creativity and wears with confidence and confidence. And that's what I like about this one. It's smooth. It's the violet in this one has that cool, comfortable leather jacket feel while still being airy, woody, and sensual. And when you smell this one in the air, that's when you'll know that this is a beautiful spring wearing fragrance that everybody should get their nose on. I like the way this one has gone off in my collection. I think that many of you already know how this one smells. This is a cult favorite, and Santal 33 is very well composed for the violet note to come off in spring air. Clean smelling. It's just, I rock with it. It's good. I think it's one of those components to a fragrance list and profile that we all need. So this 10-part list is capped off by the violet note from Santal 33 in the house of Labo. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my list for you guys today. I want to talk about the art and presence and the legacy of notes in a fragrance collection, and then one that will go off well for spring 2025. I think that when you're setting up a wardrobe and you talk about notes or things that have a presence, if you can solidify what it is in your collection that you're missing by setting it up note-wise, if you're trying to build a collection and you going out trying to figure out what to have because there's so many options, I think that that's a smart way to go, not only for the actual blending process, which I love to put out, and I have a list coming soon, and that's standing for business, leisure, evening, elegance, night out, and daily, 5 fragrances that really capture what it is to have a wardrobe building process. But I also know that if you take the stance and you want to know, okay, I have a prominent note in mind, and you stick to that, you're going to have a great collection without ever overlapping, and you don't have to build a collection of hundreds of fragrances. You can build a fragrance collection that's very much so useful and utilitarian with just about 20 to 25 fragrances. If you're not firmly looking to be a collector of perfume, but someone who wants to smell good and have great essence. So this one here, this spring list, it's just what I wanted to put out and touch on the notes. Very much so tap into the zeitgeist of what it is to have notes in your collection and understand what those notes do. And I want you to understand that fragrance is an extension of who you are. And so it's talking about getting these fragrances, look around, find out what the note is, and then basically find out what it is that you like about the fragrance notes that complement that to you. Because it's the silent detail that completes your presence. These are just opinions of mine that I think you should know about standing on these notes that smell great for spring. The right scent doesn't just smell good. I want you to know that it feels right, and that's the one thing about this one. It's a complementary part of you. It's a complementary part of your energy, your style, and your state of mind. And so these 10 fragrances are more than just notes of composition. They are symbols of power, refinement, and confidence, your confidence. So pick well, pick often, and pick thoroughly. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, scent is memory, collecting is legacy, and community is culture. And we are the culture of the dry down. Until next time, until next video, I will see you there. Peace.